Neurodivergence, the link to the attachment styles. Let me explain. The ex I had in 2020, we'd known each other for 13 years and dated for an additional 4. And in the end, he dismissed my abilities outright. He literally told me, "You're delusional to believe you are special enough to have gifts like that." At that point, I was chasing him emotionally every day. I'd get knots in my stomach just talking to him. That's anxious attachment in action. The constant fear of rejection, the overthinking, the self-questioning. Neurodivergent brains, we can feel this more intensely because of nervous systems are already wired to be hyper alert. We're sensitive to tone, silence, and emotional shifts most people would brush off. Fast forward to 2023, new relationship, and this time I wasn't the anxious one. I was the avoidant. I fled from arguments, avoided conflict, and when his energy got too heavy, my whole body rejected it. That's avoidant attachment. Pulling back, shutting down, protecting yourself from being consumed. And again, neurodivergence ties in because overstimulation, emotional flooding, and our need for solitude can make avoidant tendencies even stronger. Now let's break this down, because I know I'm not the only one. Attachment styles are the blueprints we carry from childhood that tell us how safe it feels to connect with others. Secure attachment. You feel safe to ask for what you need, trust that others are consistent, and don't panic when there's space. Anxious attachment. You crave closeness but fear abandonment. You might overanalyze texts, need lots of reassurance, or feel unsettled if someone pulls back. Avoidant attachment. You value independence so much that closeness feels suffocating. You might shut down emotionally or ghost when things get too intense. Disorganized attachment. You want love, but also fear it. Push-pull cycles, testing people, and not knowing whether to lean in or run away are common. Okay, now here's where neurodivergence kicks in and adds some spice to the mix. ADHD and anxious attachment. Many with ADHD grow up being told they're too much, too loud, or too forgetful. That can feed anxious attachment when you're constantly scanning for rejection. Add in rejection-sensitive dysphoria, and suddenly you're not just waiting for a text, you're spiraling about why they didn't reply. Autism and avoidant disorganized attachment. For many autistic people, the world has felt unsafe or overwhelming. Masking creates a survival strategy, but it also reinforces avoidance. Some people swing disorganized because they want closeness, but also fear how overwhelming it can be. OCD and anxious attachment. The mental loops of what-ifs in OCD can amplify anxious patterns. You're not just wondering if your partner loves you, you're obsessively checking the evidence. CPTSD, trauma, and disorganized attachment. Many neurodivergents also carry trauma, which creates confusion around safety. That "I want closeness, but I don't trust it" cycle becomes the nervous system's default. Secure attachment and neurodivergence. And yes, this is possible. It often comes later in life when you finally find spaces where your neurodivergence is not just tolerated, but celebrated. That's when your nervous system learns, oh, I can actually trust this. I can be me. So when we say attachment styles, we're not just talking about psychology in a vacuum. We're talking about nervous systems shaped by childhood trauma and, yes, by neurodivergence. Imagine this like a dance. Attachment style is the music, neurodivergence is your natural rhythm, and your relationships are the partner you're trying to sync with. Sometimes it's beautiful. Sometimes you step on each other's toes. But once you understand the song you're dancing to, you stop blaming yourself for not moving right. Here's the thing. Neurodivergent folks often swing between anxious and avoidant, depending on the situation. Why? Because our heightened sensitivity makes us chase connection and run from overwhelm. It's not broken, it's a survival strategy. So in 2020, I was the anxious chaser. In 2023, I was the avoidant runner. But both were reflections, mirrors of what I needed to see, and when I finally recognized the link between my neurodivergence, my attachment patterns, and my sensitivity, that's when I stopped calling it dysfunction. It wasn't dysfunction, it was data. and data gives you a blueprint, that's the beauty of unmasking. It doesn't mean tearing yourself apart. It means finally understanding how the pieces fit. If you'd like more information, comment, attachment.